Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Children of all ages. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. My name is Steve. I will be your worship associate this morning. You are all welcome in this place. We are a free religious community inspired by shared principles and a mission boldly to grow compassion, justice, and joy. Today's thought from our covenant of right relations is to create openness by actively listening and check assumptions by asking questions and verifying facts. This not only shows respect, but how are we going to act responsibly and effectively if we're not even listening for the facts? We are honored today to have three very special guests this Sunday morning. I want to introduce you to Masago Asai, our guest speaker this morning, and her daughters, Maya and Mika, who will assist Masago. Please. Kaimi will present our guests with the leis. Maya and Mika will assist Masago later in the service. Masago, Maya, and Mika, the 3M Corporation. Please welcome, 3M is with us this morning. Please welcome 3M. We would like to extend a special welcome to all our guests this morning. Whether you are visiting a Unitarian Universalist church for the first time, or whether you are visiting this church from another Unitarian church elsewhere on the planet, you are welcomed in this place. And you are all invited to coffee and to fellowship after the service, where the theme is always compassion, justice, and joy, and pastries. Pastries. Thank you all. Who would like to help light the chalice this morning? First hand up, Evie. Evie's quick. You got to be quick to beat Evie. Let's help Evie light the chalice. Thank you. May this chalice
light our way as we voyage across sometimes calm, sometimes stormy seas. We recognize the uncertainty inherent in all voyaging. We commit to weather all seas and to navigate faithfully by this light for a very long time to come.
Good morning. I'm Katie, your Director of Lifespan Religious Education, for those who may not know. Come on down, children, one and all, any age of child. All right, so I actually had a little bit of trouble with this story today, and the title of our sermon is Inner Peace, Global Peace, right? Affirming nods? Yes, good, okay, otherwise I'm really having a hard time, thank you. So I thought about doing a meditation, and then I was like, no, that's not it. And so what I really started to think about was imagination. How do we know what peace looks like if we don't have it? It's a rhetorical question. Thank you. All right. We have to be able to, Maggie, you're lovely. We have to be able to envision, that's my kid, by the way, sorry. We have to be able to envision something, right, that may or may not exist. We have to see something that isn't in front of us. So maybe we're not surrounded by peace, right? A lot of us might have trouble or turmoil, so we have to be able to see it. So today, I want to talk about imagination. Okay, so imagine a garden. All right, maybe this is what you see, right? You're like, oh, that's a good-looking garden. Sure, that's great. But maybe if you use your imagination, it starts to look a little more wild, and then it looks crazy, right? So we can see something that is a little harder than just what's right there. So maybe if there's trouble and it's not peaceful, you can start to see peace. All right, here's another one. Are you ready? Oh, it's a goat. Would you have imagined that as a goat? Who could have possibly imagined a goat with an accordion and dancing? That's pretty big. There's a regular goat. All right, what is this? Sand. It could be a tile, right? Okay, so using your imagination, this is sledding. Who could possibly imagine sledding and sand? I don't know. All these kids. All the kids who came out to our social day yesterday, they spent the whole day using their imaginations. And they sledded, and they sledded, and they sledded. So never let it be said that Hawaii kids don't sled. All right? So there's some pretty happy kids. That's a lot of kids. That's a strong kid pulling them, I know, too. All right, and this one I thought was particularly joyous. All right, so when you think that things can't happen, maybe they can. All right, and the other reason that I decided to share this instead of what I had originally prepared, I was talking to Lisa, who's one of our stalwart, diehard families, and I said, we have to decide what stories we share. And in retelling our stories, our children start to learn what's important and what they can think about. So today, as you listen to the sermons and the talks on peace and global peace, I'd like you to think that we're laying down those repetitions of peace and ideas. So today we shared some sledding on sandy snow. And with that, let's go ahead and sing Our Children Upstairs.
All right, here we go. Let's make a bridge and sing Our Kids Upstairs. And one more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone. We'll take one more step, one more word. We will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. We'll say one more word, one more song, one more song. We will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
Our opening words this morning come from Gandalf in The Hobbit. The wisdom of wizards. I find that it is not great power that holds evil in check. It is the everyday acts of kindness of ordinary people that holds evil in check.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Masago Asai. Thank you very much for inviting me today and coming to my speech this morning. We are so grateful of your warmest hospitality at this First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. I'm a member of Buddhist temple called Palolo Honganji and also of a Hawaii Conference of Religions for Peace, HCRP. HCRP is a nonprofit interfaith dialogue. For the past 22 years, we have invited followers of many different faith traditions for them to meet and offer prayers for peace in each style at our annual Peace Prayer Gathering. Your former minister, Reverend Jennifer Kwang, was once our keynote speaker. Last October, HCRP, along with 35 educational and religious organizations, which includes First Unitarian Church, supported the A-Bombs exhibit for peace in Honolulu for 9 days. Over 1,000 people in the general public attended, including 700 students from middle, high schools, and colleges. So I felt grateful as a coordinator after spending 2 years of its research and planning. As I was introduced, I'm a second generation of atomic bomb survivors of Nagasaki. I lost the lives of my own family and relatives to cancer when I was little, and that is the time my journey of searching for the meaning of peace actually started. My mom and I also were stricken with cancer a few years back. So far, we are the only survivors of this disease within our family. The atomic bomb instantly killed 70,000 people in Nagasaki, mostly civilians, and injured another 70,000 among 250,000 Nagasaki citizens at the time. If I add another 140,000 deceased of Hiroshima bombing, the number of the dead exceeds 200,000. On the day of the bombing, for example, there are incidents where people have disappeared due to direct exposure to the heat and light of the explosion. What happened was that the physical bodies, including their bones, instantaneously evaporated into thin air, leaving only the remnants of their shadows on the walls and the ground. But the most devastating thing is that it also left a tremendous amount of radioactivity, not only on the land of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but also within thousands of human bodies, which affects generation after generation. I often encountered people in this country who assume that all the atomic bomb survivors have negative feelings against the citizens of America. And I must say, that's not true. In fact, the effect of the bombs was so unbelievably destructive that most of the victims have gone beyond such typical emotions, and their fear and pain have been transformed into a strong desire for world peace. For instance, my mother was exposed to radiation within half a mile from the hypocenter on August 9, 1945, and miraculously survived. And she's the one who taught me an old saying, despise the sin, not the sinner. There is an episode about my mother. She often mentioned that the greatest regret in her life was running away from Nagasaki right after the bombing and walking toward the faraway station full of injured people. She was given a privilege of getting on the next train since she was only 14, with her face full of blood running down from her head. Her scalp was filled with hundreds of broken shards of glass. Upon the bombing, she was in a building with her classmates, crouching and covering her eyes and ears with hands. While she was stunned to see the completely changed sight of burned people in the scorched fields, she believed no one could survive in her hometown. The only escaping place that she could think of was a small village in Saga Prefecture next to Nagasaki, where her family had visited once to see her uncle when she was a little girl. This decision saved her life because she could avoid the second radiation effects. The explosion of the bomb, by the way, causes the radioactive decay, such as nuclear fission, and it produces radioactivity not once but multiple times, which continuously affects all living things even after the explosion. So day after day, her parents were seeking for my mom's corpse, assuming that she's dead. And they are the one ended up having overexposure to the radiation, which caused her parents' death some years later. Consequently, she carried a sense of guilt until very recently. To ease her pain, I said to my mother on the phone, "Mom, do you know the first thing I did when I was told that I had a cancer? I joined my hands together in prayer and thanked the invisible power for the fact that my children are still safe. I guess Grandpa and Grandma were happy that your life was saved in exchange for their longevity being shortened, not yours. I'm a mother too. Losing the life of my own children would be the most painful thing I can imagine. I think you did the right thing for them, and there is no need to feel guilty anymore." At that moment, her voice broke with emotion. We have had 2,055 nuclear explosions from 1945 through 2013 over 60 nuclear test sites all over the world. We possess approximately 17,300 nuclear warheads on the Earth as of today. For 50 years since 1946, more than 300 nuclear tests have been conducted over the Pacific by the United States, the United Kingdom, and France. It started on June 30th, 1946 at Bikini Atoll, right after World War II ended. During 12-year nuclear testing program over the Marshall Islands, for instance, out of 66 nuclear tests between 1946 and 1958, the largest hydrogen bomb, Bravo, on March 1st, 1954, yielded 15 megatons of TNT, which is equivalent to 1,000 Hiroshima bombs. During this period, the nuclear tests in the atmosphere, in outer space, and underwater were banned due to partial nuclear test ban treaty in 1963. Then most of the experiments have been done underground since the treaty was ratified. It finally came to an end over the Pacific on January 27, 1996 at Mururoa Atoll because of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. Due to this treaty in 1996, the trend of nuclear testing moves on to the new era of subcritical experiments and later developed into Z-machine research. Both experiments are designed to be conducted in laboratories which are technically hidden from the outside world. The reason why I listed numerous nuclear tests is because I would like you to see, no matter how much international laws and treaties have been in effect for the purpose of banning the new experiments and weapons production, humankind will still find a way to develop even more powerful weapons in the name of the research and development in the labs. This fact finally made me realize that the war and weapons creation will not cease unless we human beings spiritually grow to value other people's health and welfare just as important as our own national interests and individual benefits. Additionally, I personally talked to a guest speaker from Fukushima, Japan last year, and he emphasized that radiation doesn't have color, smell, or taste. So you never can feel it, but surely it exists. I also even found out in my research that radiation leakage has been detected to the air, the soil, and the water from many nuclear labs and facilities in the world because of the deterioration of military installations. But those conditions rarely have been disclosed publicly. I believe we have responsibility to pass this planet in a good condition to our next and following generations. Many A-bomb survivors, including my mother, truly care about the well-being of all the humankind on Earth. Today, I'd like to share my mother's message, which was in my video today, hoping that you will feel the victim's strong wish for health and happiness in war-free world. She said, quote, "I have accepted the reality, the time we are born, the hardship we've been through, and the fear of losing my own life, and the sadness of burying our loved ones one after another. But I am so grateful to have survived for so many years, from the terrifying moment when a lot of people died instantly in front of my very eyes. Now I have no sense of resentment or regret anymore. Yet, if I'm allowed to tell you my wish, it will be that nobody in the future will suffer the way we have. That literally was a living hell. We have already suffered enough for everyone. Therefore, I sincerely hope that this tragedy will help us learn how to build our world with peace." Unquote. No matter what country you belong to, and what religious faith or political ideology you believe in, nobody wants war or nuclear weapons. However, we often misunderstand that the elimination of war and weapons has to be done by the government, the politicians, or peace activists. Yet the truth is that the attitude and the behavior we choose are influencing other human beings every day, especially our children. In other words, if we can demonstrate the method of inner cleansing and kind attitude toward those who are different, the young generation will naturally be able to learn the peaceful lifestyle by accepting diversity among the people surrounding them, and respecting each person equally. Eventually, this generation will be the representatives of our society, becoming politicians, teachers, entrepreneurs, economists, scientists, and so on. They possibly will use different angles in dealing with national security, foreign policies, economics, education, technology, and so forth. They are our hope for the survival of this planet. Each one of us has a seed of war and a seed of peace within us. It's all up to us which seed we feed. Our choice determines the world to be destructive or productive. I created the peace booklet that I distributed today in the hope of your finding of even one method to help cleanse and uplift your inner self, as I believe that human inner maturity is the core of global peace. We all belong to our human family, and all life is equally precious. We are born to love each other, not to kill one another. This is the 70th anniversary of ending World War II. At the closing of my speech, I'd like you to join 10 seconds of quiet prayers for the sufferers and the deceased, not only of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but also at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, and all other war fields on earth in the past and at present. Prayers. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you very much.